Hello there, Fakemon fanatics! With Valentine's Day around the corner, I figured I'd introduce some Pokemon pairs found in my Icelandic-inspired Fakemon region, known as the Firen region, which I share on my Instagram account at Mykelmon_regions, along with my African-inspired Fakemon region, the Lowika region. So if you like the Fakemon featured in today's video, please make sure to go follow me there on Instagram, where I share their full movesets, their shinies, and plenty of other information you cannot find here on my YouTube channel or anywhere else. And of course, please make sure to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube and check out some of my other videos to learn even more about the inspiration, lure, and the creative process behind my Fakemon and their designs. Anyways, I know Valentine's Day is a fake holiday for a lot of people, or one some even dread. I really hope that all of you have a great Valentine's Day, whether you're spending it with that special somebody, or even by yourself. It's a good excuse to buy chocolates and go out to nice dinners. Once again, even by yourself, be that person. Don't care what anyone thinks. I know I don't need an excuse to go treat myself to anything, but if you do, take this opportunity to do so. I personally have a special somebody I would like to make a shout out to. I know you are watching this video as you watch them all, and I just wanted to thank you not only for being so supportive of all of this, but just for putting up with all of it. I know it takes up a lot of my time. I'm always on my phone. I'm always working on a post or editing a video or just creating a Fakemon in general. It's all that goes through my mind, and that's not always fair to you. But I want you to know that you are a priority. I love you more than anything, and I'm just glad to have you in my life. And I know even outside of the Fakemon and Pokemon stuff, I can be a lot. So thank you so much for putting up with me. It means the world to me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I cannot wait to spend Valentine's Day with you. I love you, and I hope you never forget that. So if you're watching this, please know that you are my #1 priority, and I choose you. So, anyways, thank you all for putting up with that sappy little message, but I felt like this was the perfect place to share it. And without further ado, let's look at some of the counterpart Pokemon and pairings found within the Firen region. The Firen region is inspired by Scandinavia and Norse mythology, with the majority of the region's culture, geography, and wildlife resembling that of Iceland. The region features over 115 brand new Pokemon, as well as new regional forms and evolutions for classic Pokemon, and a brand new battle mechanic known as Forge Forms, offering unique magical weapon variations of several fan-favorite Pokemon, as well as the new native Pokemon of the region. The Firen region's hypothetical, and who knows, maybe one day future fan games, would be known as Pokemon Brain and Pokemon Brawn, with its story focusing on duality and division. As you set out on your own Pokemon adventure against your overprotective mother, Professor Aspen's best wishes. As you'd be pitted against your childhood best friend, as you've both been recruited by rival teams, Team Brain and Team Brawn, in the middle of their high-stakes turf war throughout the Firen region. As each team is led by one of the Firen region's divine Pokemon. Team Brain is led by the trickster Pokemon Ilruz, while Team Brawn is led by the mighty Pokemon Stormer, both trying to reclaim the region as they believe it to be their rightful kingdom. So you and the rest of Team Brain or Team Brawn are merely their pawns, as you'll not only be up against an evil team in this region, but will actually be part of one, working your way up the ranks. I hope you and your starter Pokemon are ready, because the journey through the Firen region continues. Some of the counterpart Pokemon I'll be covering in this video aren't actually related, but are simply version exclusives, such as Pokemon Brain exclusive, Firenian Voodoo, and Pokemon Brawn exclusive, Firenian Natick, both of which are regional variants of two of my Lowika Pokemon. Voodoo is now a Psychic type, based on straw dolls and Iceland's connection to witchcraft and sorcery. It even has its own museum. While Natick is now a Fighting type, and a Viking warrior with a large wooden mask based on Loki's mask, as a fun little reference to the mask in the movie The Mask. These two lines can only be found in this small rural town outside of the Loford farmlands, as it is inspired by a real town in Iceland, Holmlavik, which is home to the infamous Museum of Witchcraft and Sorcery that I mentioned earlier on in the video. It also has strong Viking connections, as most towns in Iceland, especially those by the water, do. Both of which are commonly used by Team Brain and Team Brawn, and some of the stronger members will use these Pokemon's evolutions, Firenian Voodoo and Firenian Tribrute. furthering their concepts and designs. Two more version-exclusive counterpart Pokemon found in the Firen region, used by Teams Brain and Brawn respectively, are these two single-stage Pokemon, Psychic-type Ocortex and Fighting-type Musscular. Said to be the most intelligent Pokemon species on the planet, Ocortex hide in the depths of the ocean as they know just what mankind is capable of. This Pokemon is inspired by octopus and their high intelligence, as well as the theory that they have alien DNA, playing up the whole alien concept with its eyes and brain-like body resembling that of an ET. It has a new ability called Mastermind, which doubles special attack, making it a mirror to the huge power ability, which of course Ocortex's counterpart Musscular has. Musscular use their big muscles to lift large wreckage and coral beds on the seafloor to keep themselves in peak shape. This goofy, roided out Pokemon is inspired by sea mussels, as in the ones found in the ocean, and well, of course, muscles, as in the ones found on our bodies. I mean, just look at those biceps. And once again, it has huge power as its ability to mirror Ocortex's Mastermind ability, both of which being amazing abilities, by the way. Ocortex is obviously a Pokemon Brain exclusive, while Musscular is clearly a Pokemon Brawn exclusive. Both found all throughout the seas of the Firen region in their respective version. Another perfect example of version-exclusive counterparts in the Firen region and Pokemon Brain and Pokemon Brawn is Grumper and Furzin, as Grumper starts out as a Ghost type, and Furzin starts out as an Ice type. But after evolving into Chillinx and Snowwarg respectively, they gain and mirror each other's typing. Both of these Pokemon can be found as early as the Firen region's Snowy Route 1, but can also be found throughout the entire Firen region, including in some of its towns and cities, as Iceland is known to have several stray cats roaming its streets, as well as some dogs. However, Grumper and Chillinx are exclusive to Pokemon Brain, and Furzin and Snowwarg are exclusive to Pokemon Brawn. These two even both have a version-exclusive Forge Form weapon, being swords of the Slasher type. Both of these Pokemon lines are featured in one of my earliest videos, so if you'd like to learn even more about them and their Icelandic and Norse inspirations, make sure to check that out. As I promised, there's a lot more to these cute, and as far as the evolutions go, cool designs than meets the eye. Now let's take a look at some of the more tag-centric counterparts found in the Firen region. By that I mean Pokemon such as Lunatone and Solrock, Minun and Plusle, Illumise and Volbeat, Throh and Sock, and plenty others. These Pokemon have existed since the beginning of Pokemon, with Pokemon such as Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan or Nidoking or Nidoqueen, who are version exclusives in the Firen region with Forge Forms, by the way, both being Spears of the Piercer type, although this concept didn't really become a thing until tag battles were introduced in Generation 3 within the Hoenn region, Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. It is there we got a lot of tag-centric Pokemon, and even two evil teams with conflicting ideals and agendas, and pseudos. The only Pokemon region with two pseudo-legendaries, might I add, which I wholeheartedly believe is due to the Hoenn region's theme of duality. Sound familiar? If so, that is because the Firen region and its themes of duality are heavily inspired by the Hoenn region, as it's absolutely one of my favorite generations and regions in the Pokemon franchise. Of course, I tried to put my own take on these same themes within the Firen region, much how Unova covered a lot of the same themes and mirrored the Kanto region. The similarities between the two and my inspiration from Generation 3 will become even more apparent as you see more of the Firen region. Now let's take a look at some of the brand new tag-centric Pokemon found within the Firen region, including my personal favorite duo, Vesplug and Sproutlet, introduced in my electric-type focused video, as they both share the electric typing. Vesplug is inspired by the wasp species found in Iceland and electrical plugs, with its stingers being electrical plugs. More notably those found in Europe, just like the ones found in Iceland, and Sproutlet being based on the beautiful mountain Avonflower found in Iceland and electrical outlets, once again like those found in Iceland. So like bees and flowers, they have a symbiotic relationship, but instead of sharing pollen, they share an electrical charge. something that is referenced and can be utilized in tag battles with their plus and minus abilities. These Pokemon are not version exclusives, so you can catch them in both Pokemon Brain and Pokemon Brawn, but only within the Galvanized Garden area, a natural Pokemon-powered power plant with electricity generated by all the electric-type Pokemon that live there. Vesplug and Sproutlet evolve into Wasparc and Flowatt, who further this concept and are the aces and secret weapons of the electric-type gym leaders, twins Minnie and Magnus. These are both Icelandic names representing minus and plus, minimum and maximum, as I felt that fit the electric-type theme. Being the youngest gym leaders in the Firen region, Minnie and Magnus run an electric-type gym focused on double battles. Being as both of their parents are also electric-type gym leaders, in faraway regions, they don't often see their parents. So, at a young age, they turned to video games and became professional gamers and obviously gym leaders, following in their parents' footsteps. They are always up for a challenge, looking to level up together and alongside their Pokemon, as their electric-type gym doubles as a virtual arcade, powered by the electric-type Pokemon of the Galvanized Garden, with the rest of their state-of-the-art city built within one of the region's canyons. In case you didn't pick up on this already, Minnie happens to be Death, hence the hearing aid, and her brother Magnus is her translator both in and out of battle. This is why they usually tag battle, so she can communicate with her Pokemon easier with her brother's help, of course. The twins work really well together, flawlessly executing a variety of combo attacks and complex strategies. Minnie's electric-type Pokemon are more defensive, while Magnus's Pokemon are more offensive. But if you manage to outmaneuver them and win the battle, you will receive the Circuit Badge. Another tag-centric Firen duo is robot Pokemon Combat and Medroid. Combat is more of a physical fighter using its Iron Fist ability to utilize powerful punch attacks inspired by BattleBots and Robocops, while Medroid is more of a healer type with its healer ability and several healing moves. Combat is often found working beside Officer Jenny, fighting crime in the Firen region, while Medroid often aids Nurse Joy in the Pokemon centers of the Firen region. For those of you wondering what robots are doing in an Icelandic-inspired region, I am happy to inform you that Iceland is actually home to the Icelandic Institute for Intelligent Machines, a newly founded center for research in areas of artificial intelligence, robotics, and advanced technology. Iceland is really ahead of the curve in terms of robotics, and there are several other cool things robots are used for in Iceland today. So if you'd like to learn even more about these two robot Pokemon and why they fit at home in an Icelandic-inspired region, please make sure to check out my Steel-type-inspired video in which I introduced them, and go further into their Icelandic inspiration. Next up, I'm proud to introduce the shark Pokemon Teethen, a play on teeth, heathen, and much like Finizen's name, citizen. Its design is very similar to its counterpart Finizen, as I wanted them to mirror one another as mortal enemies. However, there are some slight differences, as it is obviously a shark and not a dolphin, with sharper fins and patterns on its body opposed to the more soft and rounded ones on Finizen's body. As it's supposed to become a villain, I also wanted to give it a big menacing grin, fit for a shark, and a darker color scheme. Like the Palafin line, I also wanted to keep it as a pure water type. Although I went back and forth debating giving it the dark typing, I ultimately decided if Palafin doesn't become water fighting or gain a dual type, that if it was to be a true counterpart, I didn't think this mon should gain a new type either. That doesn't mean it still can't learn plenty of dark moves like Bite, Crunch, and Jaw Lock though. Teethen evolves into Jawful, a play on Jaw, and Awful, as I wanted to avoid something predictable like Villafin, especially with Scovillain already being a thing in the same gen. Which, by the way, I know a lot of people seem to think that it is the counterpart to Palafin because it's got villain in its name, but there is nothing in either of their decks or the lure to infer that or any kind of connection. They're not even found in the same areas. So that doesn't really do it for me, but that being said, every hero has more than one villain, so sure, why not? But Jawful is without a doubt Palafin's arch nemesis. Like Finizen, Jawful looks the same as its first stage, with the only difference being the black, broken heart on its chest. Yes, I know a lot of you are thinking Kingdom Hearts. I do love Kingdom Hearts, so it is kind of a fun reference to that. But more importantly, this black heart is a reference to the tragic origin story that usually leads a supervillain to a life of crime or vengeance, as well as symbolizes its corrupt heart. Of course, being a counterpart, it also mirrors the Palafin line's gimmick and the whole secret identity thing, switching out to let its henchmen do its work for it and not revealing its true identity or master plan until it's ready to come back in and get the job done itself. AKA, it has the same ability as Palafin's signature ability, Zero to Hero, but now called Nobody to Nemesis, with this being its Nobody form, but of course what really matters is its souped up Nemesis form. Like Palafin's hero form, Jawful is jacked, with a darker color scheme and a bluish purple to subtly reference its water typing, and a lime green to reference the Greenland shark, commonly found in Icelandic waters, as this was technically created to be one of my Firen Pokemon. But most importantly, the purple and green color combination is a reference to classic supervillains, like the Green Goblin, Mysterio, Lex Luthor, the Joker, as well as supervillain Bryson Man from Pokemon Black and Pokemon White 2. Being a brand new Pokemon altogether, and a shark rather than a dolphin, there are once again obviously some slight differences between it and the Palafin line, but I wanted to stick as close to the Palafin line's design as possible, so it really felt like its real arch-nemesis. This is also a reference to like the supervillains that mirror the powers or suits of their hero counterparts. This is a common trope found throughout superhero movies. And once again, despite not gaining the dark typing for the reasons I already stated, it also learns plenty of dark moves, versus some of the more fighting-esque moves learnt by Palafin. But it would still have Palafin's signature move Jet Punch, and some other similar moves like Flip Turn at its disposal, to make the most of its water typing and signature ability. This Pokemon can be found throughout the seas of the Firen region, with the exception of course of its more glacier areas, as the water's too cold, and around the Pokecorp oil rig, where the water is obviously polluted. You can learn even more about this line and several other Gen 9 inspired designs in my latest video, where I discuss some of the things I'd like to personally see in the Gen 9 DLC. Another brand new counterpart Pokemon that I actually already introduced in this same Gen 9 video, but due to a handful of your amazing comments, decided to change the name of, is Pyrogonal, formerly known as Thermogonal. I actually really like this name because it comes from thermogenic, which is the opposite of cryogenic, which is where Cryogonal's name comes from. However, this is a lot shorter and straight to the point, as it also appears the name Thermogonal went over a lot of people's heads. Even though I explained it in this video, a lot of people seem to miss that and not understand what it meant. Not to mention this name is once again shorter and a lot closer to Cryogonal, which is the main reason I decided to make the switch. So thank you all for that. However, please do not get the idea that this will become a normal thing, because I am not only usually very proud of my names, but once they're out there, whether on my Instagram or YouTube, 9 times out of 10, they are cemented. However, since I knew I was going to be sharing this design again in this video, I knew I had a rare opportunity to post it again. So I was like, you know what, why not just make the change when I reintroduce it and go into it further in this video. So once again, thank you all for that. I do actually really appreciate that. And I hope you like the new name. And being as I just breezed over this Pokemon and design in that video, I'd like to take the opportunity in this video to go even further into its inspiration and design. Cryogonal's design actually already has Norse inspiration from Frost Giants, so I decided to twist that and reference the Fire Giants and the realm of fire in Norse mythology, with Pyrogonal's design. Pyrogonal are born in the craters of volcanoes. Their bodies are made of molten lava, making them insufferable to be around, as the heat is too much to bear unless accompanied by a cryogonal. Cryogonal was obviously shaped more like a snowflake, where Pyrogonal is now shaped to look more like a sun, with flames now making up its eyes and beard instead of ice pedlets. Its design clearly features warmer colors, fitting of its fire typing. Cryogonal can be found in the icy cold locations surrounding the large snowy mountain within the Firen region, whereas Pyrogonal can only be found in the warmer locations surrounding the large volcano within the Firen region. Last but certainly not least, we have Retri, a new fairy-type counterpart for Absol. Superstition has it that anyone who's fortunate enough to encounter a Retri is blessed with good fortune. Seeing one together with an Absol in the wild is said to be a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. I'm sure you're probably wondering where the name comes from. Retri's name is a play on retribution, the opposite of absolution, as that's where Absol's name comes from. Just how Absol is rumored to bring misfortune, Retri is rumored to bring good fortune. Just like with Absol, whether or not that's actually true is debatable and irrelevant. Its design, of course, is a clear inverse of Absol's in almost every way, with its blade being on the opposite side and facing downward instead. It's the yin to its yang. Its colors are also inversed, so it now has even more of the blackish blue than it does the white, but the biggest difference is that it now has light blue eyes in contrast to Absol's red eyes. Both Absol and Retri can be found throughout the region's rocky terrain, as well as on both of the fiery and icy mountains, and are extremely rare, of course. And like its dex entry mentioned, Retri and Absol are hardly ever seen in the same place at once. Absol and Retri are actually both the ace Pokemon of a character known as Twyla, who will play a key part in my upcoming Pokemon Descent of Darkness XD project, which takes place in the Ori region, continuing the story of Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD, with a brand new cast of characters and storyline, as well as plenty of awesome new Shadow Pokemon, including some for some of my Luika and Firen Pokemon. Twyla will also make an appearance later on in the Firen region, dual-wielding Forge forms of both Axel and Retri, both being axes of the Slasher type. So yes, for those of you who do not follow me on Instagram, dual-wielding is a thing for Forge forms, which I will cover later on in a future video. But I will say this much, dual-wielding will only be possible in double battles, for a variety of reasons, mostly being balancing reasons, because otherwise it would just be OP. But I felt if the tag twins Minnie and Magnus could each use a Forge form against you in a double battle, it's only fair that you yourself would be able to wield 2 Forge forms, to even the playing field. But like I said, I will get into that later on in a future video. And there are plenty more Counterpart Pokemon to come that I haven't yet revealed, such as 2 version exclusive evolutions for this Dragon type Pokemon I've yet to introduce, one being a Dragon Psychic type in Pokemon Brain, and a Dragon Fighting type in Pokemon Brawn, as well as the region's 2 pseudos paying homage to the land of fire and ice, with one of them being part fire type, on the fire giant of mass destruction from Norse mythology, Surtur, and the other being part ice type, taking inspiration from Ymir, the frost giant from Norse mythology. But more to come on all these Pokemon later, but I promise they will not disappoint. Well, that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and these Fakemon. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, hit that notification bell for more content. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. It's finally growing and I'm really excited to see that happening. And leave a comment down below. Reading your comments always makes my day. There is nothing more exhilarating than seeing that notification and seeing what my fellow Pokemon fans or Fakemon fanatics have to say. So thank you all so much. Also, please make sure to go follow and support all the incredible artists that I commission to bring all of these Fakemon arts to life. They are all so talented, they deserve your support, and a lot of them even have their own Fakemon and Fakemon regions that I suggest checking out as well. So all of their names will be in the bio below, so please make sure to check that out. Thank you to all of the artists. I appreciate all your support, of course. Anyways, I have a lot of exciting projects coming up, and even more Firen-related videos with some of my best Fakemon yet, so please stay tuned for all of that. Happy Valentine's Day!